What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WrestleRant, where every single Tuesday right here on the show, I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the pay-per-views that I watch on the WWE Network, as well as on the Global Wrestling Network. Today we're talking about another ECW pay-per-view, ECW CyberSlam 1996. Now, I talked about my last ECW review about, I think, a month or so ago at this point, November to Remember from 1995. So if you haven't already checked out that review, please do so right here on the channel on WrestleRant. But yeah, this is the only 96 pay-per-view available from ECW on the network, so I'm not sure if there's other ones and another part of the network under the Vault section, whatever, but the only sole 96 pay-per-view I will be reviewing from ECW is this one, CyberSlam, and overall, it was a mixed bag. The big matches delivered, by and large. The undercard was absolutely awful. A lot like the last WCW pay-per-view that I talked about, the NWA Starrcade 1985 show that I talked about last week. Nonetheless, we open the show with the Bad Crew, Dog and Rose, I believe their names were, in Judge Dredd, which I thought was from RoboCop, apparently not, taking on Dino Sendoff, Don E. Allen, and the Dirt Bike Kid in a 2-minute match. One of the members of the Bad Crew pinned Don E. Allen for the victory. This was total shit. The crowd could not have cared less. They pooped all over this. There's 6 jobbers going at it for whatever reason to kick off this show. It was over in 2 minutes, thankfully. Afterward, the Sandman came out. This spot was usually reserved for 911, who I talked about. I believe in November to Remember. I know he was on the first ECW pay-per-view I reviewed. Sandman replaced him here. He came out, destroyed everyone. The crowd loved it, ate it up. This was pure shit, though. After that, we got a kind of a real match, although it really was not that good, between El Puerto Riqueno, I don't know how you pronounce that, taking on Spiro Greco. Boring-ass match. Greco won with a side slam about 4.5 minutes in. Total squash, too. Puerto got no offense in whatsoever. This was boring, not exciting in the slightest, and there was really no, saving grace. There was no positive to this, really, at all. So we're not off to the strongest start with this show. After that, we got another real quick squash match. A lot quicker than Greco and Ricano. It was Taz taking on Joel Hartgood. It was over in 2 minutes. Tapped him out. I believe this took place during the ongoing long-running rivalry between Sabu and Taz. He called out Sabu to answer his open challenge. Sabu was nowhere to be seen, choked out Hartgood instead. All these people came out, the referee, security, even Mikey Whipwreck, who I think was he the then ECW champion? No, he wasn't. That was from the last show. But he came out, he got wrecked, no pun intended, he got wrecked by Taz, choked out as well. So Taz came across looking like a beast. The match was not really a match, but for what it was, it got Taz over. So in that respect, it succeeded. After that, we got the return to ECW of Brian Pillman. So this was amazing. You know how good Brian Pillman is, but you have to see this. I mean, if you've seen his work in WCW, WWE, you know how good the guy is, but some of his best work might have come in ECW for the short time he was there. Because this was fucking amazing. And because obviously he got fired by WCW, he got let go to go to WWE, but in between that time he went to ECW, if my timeline is correct there. So during the course of his promo, he targets Eric Bischoff, a la, Stone Cold when he got let go from WCW. And then he turns his promo on the fans. This was amazing. He goes, oh, they're all smart marks. What the fuck you people doing? Dropping all these F-bombs. It was incredible. So he goes fucking berserk before security comes out and has to escort him out of the building. And then Shane Douglas comes out. They nearly come to blows, and Shane Douglas sits in the ring to wait to find out to see if Pillman will officially be escorted out of the arena, which I believe he was, and we did not see him after that. But this was a great angle, and it got me excited for a Pillman-Douglas match. No, I'm not even sure if it happened, or maybe if it did, it was shit. I'm not sure what came of this. But as an angle, this was fucking amazing. This is how you build buzz for someone coming over from another company. This was really, really well done. The way that he was like a returning hero, targeting Eric Bischoff and the evil WCW, and then turning that promo on the fans, calling them smart marks, and dropping F-bombs and all this other shit. It was incredible. After that, Bubba Ray Dudley taking on Mr. Hughes. This was over in legit like 30 seconds. So Mr. Hughes attacks Bubba Ray Dudley. One of the Dudleys attacks Mr. Hughes when the referee's not looking. Or maybe he is, I don't remember. And then Bubba Ray Dudley hits him with a splash. It's over. So this was complete shit. Mustafa Saeed, he had a match, or was supposed to have a match with the Gangstas, alongside New Jack, who no-showed this show. I forgot what the reasoning was, but the Gangstas squash Saeed in a matter of seconds. Literally in a minute. He wants the match anyway. They give him the match. And not with the Gangstas. I'm sorry. The Headhunters come out. The Headhunters say, there's no fucking match. Get on out of here. But he's like, I want the match. It's like, okay. So he gets squashed by the Headhunters in 43 seconds. After that, we get the Headhunters versus the Bruise Brothers in a real match that went a little bit longer, about 4 minutes. It really was not that good. Just a bunch of fat guys going at it for a number of minutes. Really was not that good, though I will say the Bruise Brothers were impressive. Or maybe it was the Headhunters. I think that's who it was. They were doing like splashes and all this other shit off the top rope. And these people were like 400, 500 pounds. So it was pretty impressive. But as a match, though, kind of shit. Really a glorified brawl. The Bruise Brothers went over. There were 2 pins that were counted. The Bruise Brothers won. Nothing ever really came out of that finish. So both members, one member from each team, had the other member pinned down, or the other opposing, you know what I'm talking about. So they had the match won. The referee only sees it. He only sees the Bruise Brothers pinfall victory. That led nowhere. So as a match, really was not that good. Slightly impressive. The Bruise Brothers, I thought, were pretty impressive. But beyond that, not that really good of a match. So after that, we get Tommy Dreamer and Balula McGillicuddy coming out for an interview. This is just a lot of, one of those soap opera drama type segments. So Balula, with Dreamer, Balula comes out and says that she was not pregnant all along, and instead she was sleeping with Raven's girlfriend. That's what she said. I don't know where this came from. I'm not sure what this angle was. I do not remember. I just remember that Dreamer and Raven were embroiled in a long running rivalry in ECW. Beyond that, Balula's involvement and all this other shit, I have no idea what they were going for. It reminded me a lot of that episode of South Park where they kind of mocked wrestling and had the WTF promotion and all the abortion talk and all that other shit. That's what this reminded me of. It would not surprise me, whoever wrote that episode, if they were inspired off of this shit. So Raven comes out in the midst of all this controversy. The Bruise Brothers are about to join Dreamer in attacking Raven, but instead, they say, fuck Tommy Dreamer, or join the Raven's Nest. So they join the Raven's Nest and lay out Dreamer. And that's that. This was just one giant mess. JT Smith taking on Axel Rotten. A decent little match. By far the best thing on the entire show. The only real thing up to this point on the show that resembled a real match. And JT Smith was kind of planting the seeds for the future FBI gimmick that we would get in ECW, kind of honing his Italian roots and showcasing that. A good little match. JT Smith won with a chair shot. I think the finish, from what I can recall, I saw this a couple days ago. I forgot not a lot of what happened, but it's still been a few days since I saw it. So Smith, he does like he was going for a moonsault or whatever off the top rope. I think he was going for a moonsault with a chair in his hand, because he did that after the match too. And I think he intentionally messed up, like he fell off the top rope, and then Axel Rotten turned around. He's like, "Oh, look at this idiot! He fell off." And then as soon as he turned around, he gets smacked right in the face with the chair shot from JT Smith. It was pretty clever. It was like he botched intentionally to make Rotten think that, oh, it was all over, what an idiot, and then he won. So yeah, that was well done. Hack Myers came out to make the save for Axel Rotten and brawled with JT Smith. After that, we got a tag team match. We got Francine and the Pitbulls taking on Steve Richards and the Eliminators in a dog collar match. So each of the 3 people on each team were basically chained with a dog collar to someone from the other team. It was as big of a mess as you could possibly imagine. But the match actually was not that bad, shockingly. This got a ton of time, almost 15 minutes. But it was semi-entertaining, so I will give them that. Francine's involvement was not as goofy as it sounds. She was pretty much an equal to the men at this point in the promotion. So the match goes on and on and on. Finally, the Eliminators took, or afterwards, the Eliminators lost. They took out the Pitbulls and then Francine. But before that, I think it was the Pitbulls who took out Stevie Richards and they got busy doing something else. So Francine pinned Stevie Richards for the victory, and they won the match. And then, like I said, the Eliminators afterwards attacking Pitbulls and Francine with their finishers, which looked devastating on Francine. Pretty much broke the woman in half. After that, we got Too Cold Scorpio versus Sabu for the ECW World Television Championship. This was awesome. This was a great match. Now, I know ECW was kind of known for having like awesome matches and all this other shit, but it just really blows my mind we can have such a show with a terrible, terrible, terrible undercard and then have a great instant in-ring classic like this one was. They took the fight all around the arena. Sabu, one of his best matches I've ever seen from ECW. Too Cold Scorpio was at the top of his game here. He was the champion. It went to a 30-minute time limit, and they made every minute count. This was exciting stuff. So, it was a total spot fest, mind you. No real story told, but from an enjoyment in-ring standpoint, it was excellent. So, Sabu got a great match here out of Too Cold Scorpio, and vice versa. Like I said, one of the better Sabu matches I've probably ever seen. Just a great match, start to finish. They never really felt like it went 30 minutes, which was great. After that, another awesome match. We had Shane Douglas taking on Cactus Jack. So Douglas just came back from WWE. I think it was on the first pay-per-view that I reviewed that he, we already talked about Douglas from earlier on in the evening when he, challenged Brian Pillman, which I'm not sure if anything ever came out of that. So Douglas went to WWE in 95 as Dean Douglas, which went nowhere. He was gone soon after and immediately returned to ECW. Cactus Jack, a.k.a. Mick Foley, was already on his way to WWE. So he was trying to beat the Hardcore back into Cactus Jack on his way to WWE, because I guess they kind of knew that he would not be the same character in that company. I think was the premise of this program, if not mistaken. So anyway, Shane Douglas wins when Mikey Whipwreck comes in after Jack was calling for him, Mikey, where are you? Mikey, I need you. Mikey comes in, turns on Cactus Jack with a chair shot over the head, 16 minutes in, and Douglas wins. So that was awesome. That was really, really well done. I believe that led to a Jack Whipwreck match and Cactus Jack's final ECW match ever, which I think Cactus Jack won, which is weird. Usually you would think that he would lose on his way out, but nonetheless, this was also a great match with awesome storytelling. The main event, unfortunately, was not that good. If anything, it was pure shit. For the ECW World Heavyweight Championship, it was Raven versus the Sandman. Raven won after hitting Sandman with a DDT on the chair. So anything involving Sandman's not going to be great anyway, but this was pure garbage. A lot of interference, a lot of hokey shit. This was just not good at all. But to send the crowd home happy, the fans, after chanting screw job throughout the finish, it also felt really, really rushed at only 8 minutes, in length. So to send the crowd home happy, Blue Meanie comes out, and he attempts to revive the Sandman by pouring beer on him. Bad choice. Bad course of action there, because ultimately it revives him all right, but in a way, or he just wanted to mock him with the beer. And ultimately it revived the Sandman, who gets back up and just destroys Blue Meanie with the Signal Port cane over and over and over and over. And that was it. That was the end of the pay-per-view with Sandman, having his hand held high, even though he did not win the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. So overall, it's tough. It's tough, because some of those upper mid-card matches on this show were decent. Were actually pretty decent. The main matches, with the exception of the main event, were amazing. Too Cold Scorpio and Sabu, as well as Douglas and Cactus Jack, were just outstanding outings. The undercard is abysmally bad. Absolutely awful. Just tremendously terrible. That's how bad this show is. So you'd really have to go back and only watch certain matches. I would say Too Cold Scorpio and Sabu, absolutely. Douglas and Jack, absolutely. But then you also have the dog collar match, which exceeded my expectations anyway. Then Smith and Rotten, which was a fine little match. Everything else was just pure insanity, and not maybe people like that. Some people like that stuff. And you also have the Brian Pillman promo, too. So overall, I give it a decent recommendation. I'll say watch the show. If you're going to watch the whole show, if you're either deciding between watching the whole show or not, watch the show. But if anything, watch only certain parts. Because there's enough good stuff on this show to make it worth watching. Between those two not last matches because the main event was shit, but the television title match, the Douglas Jack match, as well as the Pillman promo. Those three things were just off the charts and enough to give this a mild thumbs up. So anyway, guys, that is my review of ECW CyberSlam from 1996. Thank you for checking out my reviews. As always, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. I'll be back next Tuesday with another review right here on WrestleRant of what I believe, if I remember correctly, it's Elimination Chamber, because we got Elimination Chamber of the WWE's 2018 installment coming up. Not this Sunday, but the Sunday after that. So in preparation for that pay-per-view, I will be talking about Elimination Chamber 2017 right here on a WrestleRant next week. So with all that being said, folks, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy Valentine's Day tomorrow. I'll have the hashtag AskGSM up for you on Wednesday afternoon if you want to check that out. But anyway, guys, be well. I'll catch your ass down the road.